Nick, are there any surprises on the pyramid? There's 55 guys. I'm sure there's one or two.
Oh, no. I think there are some shocking guys that didn't. There are 3 guys making more than $35 million who don't even make the pyramid. Ooh. Not even a top 55 guy.
Wow.
Yeah, so all that, the top of the pyramid surprises, it's an hour.
That doesn't sound
1
good.
hour.
That doesn't sound good. We'll see.
But we start with the playoff Packers, question mark, maybe? 2-time reigning MVP, back-to-back, dispatched of the Rams, who offered up the weakest Super Bowl title defense of all time. Here's Aaron Rodgers on Green Bay's playoff push.
Before the Bears week, we knew we had a bye afterwards, and those of us who sometimes peek ahead knew that we had to win 5 and then have a lot of things go our way. So we won 2, and just about everything we've needed to happen has gone our way. Just about, right? So things are looking up.
I like it. All right, remaining schedule. At the Dolphins, host the Vikings, who are not for real, and then the Lions, who sneaky are.
Our season is lost. Let's salvage something from it so we can make an informed decision, not just on your 5th-year option, but on your future. If it's right now, if it's down the road, if it's with someone else, if it's with us, we will watch you play. Instead, they're holding on to the playoff hopes like a Powerball ticket. I guess, yeah, you have a chance, but it's not mathematically impossible, but it's not something you should base your retirement on. And so I think they have butchered this, and I think that win last night is actually more harm than good, but that's fine. We can play pretend for another week with Aaron Rodgers if he wants to.
All right, well, let me say this, Nick. I agree with you, and this pains me to say because I did pick the Packers
to go to the
reach
Super Bowl. Yeah.
All right, not to win it, but to reach it. All right, one of the rare things I've been wrong on lately. World Cup, World Series, NBA Finals. Yeah. But anyway, they won't make the playoffs.
You don't say.
That said, Nick, this is the attitude I want from my team leader.
Exactly.
It's easy for us as pundits and prognosticators and sometimes smart Alex to get on TV and write a team off. I mean, seriously, though, if I'm in that locker room and I am shedding blood and tears in the weight room, on the practice field to make the playoffs, I want to hear my leader not give in, not throw in the towel. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers has been a great leader in his career. You know that. I've said that. But this attitude he has is what you want.
That's fine,
but
it shouldn't be his call. But Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur should have taken this out of his hands. I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers should have handed the reins over to Jordan Love. It would have been nice. It would have been nice to be like, yeah, 15 years ago, that's literally exactly what I prayed every night Brett Favre would do for me, but I'm not going to do it. Fine, he doesn't have to. The adults in the room, it's their job to do it.
Gutekunst said, a couple weeks ago, they've seen enough. He said we know enough
But that's
about
also
Jordan
poor
Love.
management.
3 years of practice. I mean, you should know whether the dude can play. And I know it's a small sample size that you can't take to the bank. But he did look good against Philadelphia in that, little run he had for Aaron Rodgers.
But my point, Wiles, is what if he came out this next month and was phenomenal, was utterly phenomenal?
Okay.
Then at the very least, you have an amazing trade chip.
But why would you want to trade him?
Okay, well, if
he sits one more year behind Aaron Rodgers, and then you got a phenomenal replacement.
Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't, but you would have information. They are depriving them. There is the Packers for the last 2 weeks, Wilds, have had a box at one Lambeau Way, a box with no lock on it, and there's all this information about the future of their team in it, and they're not opening it. Because Aaron Rodgers wrote him a little note that said, please don't open. They're like, don't want to hurt his feelings. And that is not a way to run a business.
You know what?
You have the availability.
I hope they make the playoffs just because of Nick's take.
So here's their playoff scenario. Okay. There's a lot of paths there. Okay. Here's one that Josh...
that all has to happen?
Yeah. Well, Josh, there's several, but this is one. I'm not going to read it. You can pause your DVR and read it at your leisure.
See it.
But that being said, I would rather have Aaron Rodgers recite that in the locker room and say, you know what, guys? Jordan Love deserves a shot. I'm headed to Peru. Like, that's not how it should be.
Amen.
He has said some weird stuff. He has said some stuff that deserves criticism. I want to play until we're mathematically eliminated.
Again,
is not one of them.
my heaviest criticism here is for the organization. What is the Green Bay Packers' responsibility? To try to compete for championships, right?
That's what they're doing.
No.
Right. Can they throw in the towel? How's that look to the players in the locker room?
Okay, first of all, we're in this weird spot where we've seen enough from Jordan Love to pick up a $20+ million guarantee, but playing him in football games is throwing in the towel. And just to be clear, that's what you guys are arguing. That by playing the guy who they don't need to see play in order to hand him the keys to the franchise, they're giving up.
And he's got a broken thumb.
I'm not arguing that. And so you have a near 40-year-old quarterback having the worst year of his career with a broken thumb. Playing the guy who we know we're confident enough to give the keys to the franchise to is the same as forfeiting. That strikes me as odd. That strikes me as a little illogical, but I'll follow you down that path. So be it. The other part of it, though, is the world does not end for the Green Bay Packers after this season. They are in a better position in every aspect to win a Super Bowl next year, no matter who their quarterback is, by letting Aaron Rodgers heal, by letting the receivers get some rapport with the guy who might play for them next season, by learning if there is a big thirst around the league for Jordan Love, whether that means they want to keep him or trade him. It is irrational behavior. And I'm not advocating the NFL teams do what the Oklahoma City Thunder have done, which is do a multi-year tank and play only young players. But when you are down to a roulette wheel spin chance of making the postseason, to not play a guy who you have to make a critical decision about over the last month of the season is bad management. It is bad management that they will regret. There is no doubt about it to me.
I like that hair move that you did.
Sorry,
I disagree with it, but the hair move was sick.
He practiced that all last night. He was in the mirror.
Cool. Hey, Baker completed 12 passes for 111 yards, sacked 5 times, hit 9 times, behind an offensive line that struggled all year and lost their center during the game. From heroics to mediocre, Brew, what was your take on Baker's performance?
I'm excited to hear
All
this.
I could think about last night watching Baker Mayfield was Nick Wright. Nick Wright sitting right there telling us, I've never been wrong about a quarterback. And you loved Baker Mayfield, and you had jumped off the bandwagon smartly. All right? But then he goes out, and I'll admit, you saw me on here, a week and a half ago,
made you openly
clapping.
weep.
You said
yes,
you
I was choked up. I didn't say I cried. I was choked up. I'm choked up thinking about the performance. It was a great performance. It was a fairy tale.
Yeah, I know you're crying about it.
But here's the thing. We don't believe in fairy tales. At least we don't on this side of the table.
Now you got me back.
Believing Baker Mayfield was back. Because of that Hollywood script show that happened a week and a half ago, is Jonas Valanciunas, Nick, had 37 and 18 last night. I guess he's going to do that or close to it. 30 and 15 the rest of his career, right? Latavius Murray rushed for 130 yards. I guess he's going to do that for the next 2 years, right? That's what it was like to say, yes! I'm back on Baker Mayfield's bandwagon. I love him. You had left it. You had scored it. So no. Okay. And Nick, here's the thing, because that was a lot of histrionics. But I got a graphic for you. I got a graphic for you. Okay.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
This proves that.
That's not funny.
I didn't even know that was
not funny. You did the whole thing. You were like,
I didn't know that was coming. I did not know that was coming. I'm sorry.
On this side of the table, I got.
Well, I didn't have to put it in there.
Nick got in there somehow. Look, Nick.
Yeah.
This graphic proves that what you saw from Baker last night is what Baker is now. Okay. All right? The completion percentage with Carolina this season, 6 games. 57%. Okay. Last night, 57%. Yards per pass,
I can read.
6 to 5. Touchdown to interception ratio.
I've got a very similar graphic.
Right? I mean, come on. What we saw last night is what Carolina saw for 6 games.
So he's done. He's done.
He's done. As I said, he's a backup.
No, as a starter,
hopefully,
he's done.
Well, like I said, he's got to learn behind a legitimate starter.
But that's the same thing that I said
last week. And then maybe in the future,
I agree with you, but
he can start again.
He could sit under Stafford.
You were singing praises.
I was singing praises because silly me, I saw a guy have the longest game-winning drive in the final 2 minutes in the 101-year history of the league, and I was like, oh, that was pretty good. It was so good that it might make a lifelong Baker Mayfield hater like the one sitting across from me